We started our online fitness business a couple weeks ago, and as the leaders in online fitness business education for a lot of years, we got to know all of the software companies inside and out. We have been working with them. I've been an advisor. I've advised basically every major software company. And so when it came time for us to build our system, I wanted to choose the one that we were going to work with, the software program that we were going to work with, that was going to be the right combination of ease of use. We're going to onboard a lot of coaches very quickly to work with our clients. We brought on 5 at the beginning, but we wanted to build a system where we could bring on a lot of coaches. So very, very quickly. So it had to be really easy to use, had to have the right kind of automation, had to have the data that we needed in there, had to have an Android app and an EOS app. And so we decided to use PT Distinction. And that's not just because they were the sponsors for our show. We decided to use them after looking at all the options for what we needed the best, and really, really have been loving them so far. So I can't recommend PT Distinction enough if you're looking for online training software. And normally they give a 30-day trial fee to check out the system. But what they've done special for us and listeners of the show, so that's you, is giving you guys a 60-day trial. So basically double the trial period, really to make sure you love them. And one of the things I love about that is it's not like a coupon code. It's nothing, right? Like they're putting skin in the game. Like they're basically willing to let you try out everything they have for free for 60 days, knowing that you're going to love it so that you keep using it. And that to me is a testament to just their own belief in the quality of their system. And that's one of the things that I really look for. But I want to kick it to Ren for a second. Ren, you're one of our coaches in online trainer coaching. Yep. And so you just started using the system, 2 weeks ago and got in there. So how are you finding it so far, man?
It's very much like a pair of shoes for a kid. You can grow into it. What I love about it is how simple it is at the front end.
How did you just come up with that?
Yeah, I just made that up.
That is the best analogy that I think, like that analogy was so perfect for what perfect. You're talking about. And I know you just came up with that on the spot.
I did,
amazing.
But it is, you grow into it. So it works at every level is what I'm finding out, because I'm a little bit more complex as a trainer. I've been online training for a while. So I've been around the block, as they say. And one great thing about PT Distinction is it can go from simplicity to sort of explicit detail in a short amount of time. If you need more detail, if you're expert at programming, PT Distinction makes sense for you. If you're new to programming, PT Distinction is great for you. It's got a great library. So I love the fact that it will sort of grow along with your training business. That's one of my favorite things about it so far, having engaged with it for only a few weeks. So, I got to say, normally I don't support your choices, Jonathan. We all know that. But in this case, I'm willing to say possibly that you didn't make an error.
There you go. I mean, that's fantastic. So guys, if you're listening and you want to get going with that deal, with that special deal for PT Distinction, you can go to the show notes for this episode or just go straight to onlinetrainer.com/PTD. And you'll see there's coupon code. Just enter it in when you check out and you'll get the 60 days to check it out. So the Online Trainer Show, not sure if you guys know, is actually produced by the same people who created the Online Trainer Academy. I'm the founder of it. All of us are graduates for it. Ren and Carolina, you guys are both actually level 2 certified. Is that right?
Correct.
We're a big deal.
You guys have been hanging around for a few years in our communities.
I feel old.
And young and hard. And one of the things that I'm most proud of with the Online Trainer Academy, I mean, it's not the fact that it was the first ever textbook for the subject, still the only textbook, the only real curriculum that exists for online training, and that we have worked with more people than anybody else. What, 35,000 or something people that we've worked with in 87 countries. So we know what we do works. It's actually the longevity of the success of people in the program. And that's something I'm super proud of, because the methods that we teach are agnostic. They don't fall prey to changes in algorithms. We don't teach you necessarily how to leverage like the newest, hottest software or social media, whatever it is. What we do is we empower you and we teach you strategies to actually jump on and understand what the foundational principles are for success. What are the skills that you need to up level to be a successful online trainer? We're talking everything from obviously your marketing skills, your business development skills, to your client skills, motivational interview, and how do you assess clients online? How do you take care of your clients well? Because even if I could help you get more clients, if you can't take care of them and get them good results, then not much as good is going to happen, and you're going to have to keep reinventing the wheel, and that's straight up exhausting, and you're destined to fail. And that's one of the things that I'm most proud of, that our community has been around and continues to grow. I mean, we've been around for 8 years. You can't have an educational course that's been around for 8 years in a platform that changes as much as the internet does, and not really have struck on some very important, fundamental, foundational principles that are wildly accessible. And so if you guys are interested in that, I encourage you to check out the Online Trainer Academy. We produce this podcast, and we've been around for a while. We're going to be around for a lot longer, and we'd love for you to join us. If you just go to onlinetrainer.com/academy, then we will take great care of you. And we do, of course, have a guarantee, and we guarantee everything that we do as well. So there's no risk. So check it out, onlinetrainer.com/academy. Ren, get on with the show, my friend.
I'm watching the Netflix, right? Do you guys watch the Netflix? Anybody
the Netflix.
The Netflix. Everything in the South starts with the Z. The COVID, the Netflix. I'm watching the Netflix, and I don't often think about Jonathan Goodman while I'm watching Netflix. This one exception. Let's go ahead and preface this story by saying that up front.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
Well, you never like where it's going, Jonathan.
Oh, I do. Keep going.
And you shouldn't. So there's this new movie, right? It's called Project Power. It stars Oscar winner Jamie Foxx. Are you guys familiar with Jamie Foxx?
Ooh,
He played
yeah.
Ray Charles and Ray. Honey, can I call you B?
Have you seen the Jamie Foxx tennis ball skit?
No.
At the ESPY Awards, he serenades Serena Williams.
Really?
And it is legit. He sings, because Jamie Foxx is like one of the most talented celebrities ever.
Multi-talented. He's a really good singer.
He's an incredible actor, an incredible singer, an incredible comedian.
All of it.
All of it. And so he gets on stage and serenades Serena Williams with a song called "Can I Be Your Tennis Ball?" It is one of the funniest things you'll ever see. And then he comes back the next year because it was just like funny and random. And then he comes back the next year and he has like this elaborate stage setup of like this giant tennis racket, and he
level 2'd it.
Serena Williams and brings her up on stage and starts like dancing with her with this.
Not unlike OTA 1 and level 2, he level 2'd his skit from the previous year.
So what
Jonathan,
was Jamie Foxx doing?
If I may continue my story, Jonathan, great co-opter of stories. It's the most politely obstructive man I've ever met. I stand by that. I stand for it. I mean, if I could a moment. No, Jonathan, no. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm watching Project Power.
If you don't like it, Len, you should just get your own podcast.
I really should. Obviously, I like it. I come back for the abuse week after week. Without Jonathan Goodman, there would be no me. Let's just go ahead and establish that. Anyway, that wasn't weird. But the movie, giving too much away. You can all see this in the trailer. I won't tell you the details. But in the movie, you take a pill and it gives you superpowers for 5 minutes.
Ooh.
So it's a really cool movie. You got all this secret government shadow networks. So Jamie Foxx, the other lead actor is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Love him too. Yes.
Awesome actor. Awesome
What
actor.
was that? What was the show? Yeah, what was that show?
Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, he was a kid there, but he's an adult now. And a tremendous actor, really, really good actor. So he's a police officer in New Orleans, and he takes these pills to help with crime, and he has to time the 5 minutes. So if he's running into a bank robbery, so he doesn't get hurt because he's got 5 minutes worth of power. That's how the pill works. Do you know what device he uses to time down his power? To time his 5 minutes?
Please tell me it's a Casio watch.
Yes, a Casio watch. I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, somehow
Legendary.
Jonathan Goodman, he's influenced Hollywood. Netflix is winning. They're the online experts in movies.
Yeah.
Jonathan Goodman, the online expert in training, and the lead actor's wearing a Casio watch. coincidence? I
don't think
not,
so.
my friends.
No.
Because when you want reliable,
We want reliability.
when you want something that does not break,
you go to the proven thing.
When you want Jonathan Goodman level,
you go
OTA
Casio.
level.
Oh yeah, OTA.
PT,
Yeah, OTA.
PT distinction level quality. It's Casio or nothing.
Yes.
And, I think we need a jingle now. Oh, no, Jonathan, you got to introduce the show, don't you? I always forget.
I mean, we're at episode 29, and none of us know the order of
Are we
things.
sure it's episode 29, though? Because we thought it was 29 like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's probably like 36.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Goodman, and welcome to the Online Trainer Show. Today is probably episode 29, and we're talking about how online trainers must manage their money. This episode is not about making more money. This episode is about being a heck of a lot smarter with the money you have. Thanks for being here.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.
I love the topic today. Because
Yes.
I was famously bad at managing money. My clients know that this is part of the story that I tell my clients to help them understand that I needed coaches with something. So I love this episode.
Tell me your story. What's your story?
Well, I literally just posted the story today on my interwebs networks for Transformation Tuesday. But my story was I was just really bad with money. Make more money, I'd spend more money.
Mm.
So, when I started my online training career, and I don't want to bum you guys, well, this might be inspirational. It'll toe the line between I feel sorry for him and inspiration. I'm not going to pick. That's for you guys to choose. So when I first started training in the, personal training business, I worked in a corporate environment, and I was so bad with money that when I came to the city I live in now, the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, I slept in somebody's basement. When I transitioned from corporate to this, slept in somebody's basement. My hand to the good Lord above. This is how we talking this out. I had a vehicle repossessed. I rented vehicles, to train, to do mobile training.
Wow.
I knew I did not want to be work in the gym. I refused to work for somebody, so I slept in the basement, somebody else's basement. I rented cars from week to week to get to a mobile training site.
How does vehicle repossession work? Does some dude just knock on your door and he's like, "Yo, I'm taking your car"?
Here's how it works. You buy shoes and clothes and shit. You don't pay for your car, and they know where you live. That's how it works. It's a quick finance lesson for you guys out there.
Oh my God!
But it's important for me to share this story with my clients, and I always do, because clients feel like if you're a coach, that you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't need coaching for fitness. I needed coaching for something, though. And this is part of what we're doing now with the OTC. We're providing coaching to coaches. The best coaches have coaching. So, I lost my apartment. That's why I was in somebody's basement. Just being financially reckless. At one point, I could not even get a checking account in the United States. I had such bad banking. So that's why this is such a great episode for me. I'm working through 5 streams of income now. I got great savings, and my credit's phenomenal. Like it's and that's not all due to OTA, but you just have to grow up. This is an important lesson for trainers.
5 streams of income.
One is my income from my insurance business. I get residual income from that.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, when sold insurance.
Yeah, I used to be an insurance guy.
Yeah.
The other is Fitness Jones training, obviously, my own personal business. Mm-hmm. The third is OTC. I'm an OTC coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's online trainer coaching.
Yeah, online trainer coaching. The fourth is this podcast. And I keep the loonies under the bed. I don't even deposit the change that Johnny considers for this Canadian loonies all stay in the bed. And then actually the fifth is OTA coaching. So those last three sort of blend together. But it does come up to 5. So I'm operating in 5 different areas. 4 of those are working because of OTA though. Like gotta say it. Like if I was out training people in person, couldn't do the OTA coaching on the business end, couldn't do the OTC coaching, couldn't be on this podcast, I'd be in somebody's house right now. So that's my testimony.
Yes.
I wish I had a friend.
Can you slow jam your testimonial?
I can, but I feel like I'd rather preach it this morning to the good church in here. I got a witness. Can I get two? Pass the collection plate. So that's my story. So, Keto, you're always doing things. You live life to the fullest.
Right.
Hair's always magnificent. You always drop the jewels on us. You substituted for Amber beautifully on the last couple of podcasts.
There is no substituting Amber.
No substituting, but you filled in. You filled in. You did what you could. Nobody can recreate those delts. So
exactly.
Yeah, there's just otherworldly deltoids, Amber. Just neck up, please, Amber. You're distracting us with your deltoids. Thank you very much. Thank you for the adjustment. So Carol, what's up? I've talked a lot today. We want to hear from you.
What's up is that I can kind of like repeat back a lot of your story in the sense that in very different ways, but I also have, like I've mentioned before, the beginning of my career was super financially strained.
Yes.
You get creative, you find ways. For example, one of them was when I was still doing in-person training, is that I figured out I started to, even though I live in freaking Canada and it's always freezing here as far as my Mexican ass is concerned.
Right.
In the summertime, I would do like a 6-week outdoor boot camp in our waterfront, like in our main park. It's completely free because you don't have to pay anybody for any permits of any kind. And most cities work like that. Of course, it varies depending on location. But right. I made so much money with that. It got super popular year after year. People would like ask me like months in advance, like, can I save a spot? So there's always a way. And sometimes you just have to get creative. And also expanding on what you were saying about needing coaching for something, like, we're going through big life transitions here. And I think it's important to remember that, yes, we're not experts of everything. We need to reach out for help. Like for me right now, I'm super aware that I'm bringing my kids, like we're starting to blend families.
Right.
I'm reaching out to a therapist for that specializes on that. Because like, that's the most important thing. We're going to guarantee that all the kids are super happy and feeling, heard and integrated and as smooth as possible. Reach out for help. Like there's no shame in that. Like you're setting yourself up for success whenever you reach out to experts who can actually, take away a lot of the guessing game and the headaches just that you can save from reaching out.
Absolutely. That's just big news with the house thing. I'm still, the listening audience is still reeling from that announcement. Well, they haven't heard it yet. So at this point, they're reeling from the announcement that was made.
That's right. Nobody knows about that yet.
Yeah, nobody knows yet, but
we're
they do know.
Talking about it here, nobody knows.
Yeah, they don't know as we're recording, but they do know as they're listening, which is really weird. Caroline is in the future. I'm confused. Jonathan, just save us from the banter. I don't know what else to talk about. But we've got a topic today, so you can talk about that, I guess, if people want to hear.
The topic today is about the topic of money, and money isn't like money allows you to buy basically freedoms in your life. It's not. There's a lot of question of money and wealth, and money is not synonymous with wealth.
Right.
That's a misconception, but money is obviously very important. And we talk a lot about, things you can do to make more money. I mean, the majority of the reasons why people enroll in our online trainer academy is to make more money. But perhaps just as, if not more important than learning how to make money, is learning how to keep and grow money.
Man.
And for whatever insane reason, this is not taught in school.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Oh
it
gosh.
is.
Right.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories as to why. I mean, a great way to control the population is to hold them hostage by their means.
Right.
Yeah.
And not understanding how the entire financial system works and your place in it is a great way to make sure that no matter how much money you make, you end up living in a repossessed car,
right.
and buying a whole bunch of t-shirts and clothing and watches and stuff like that.
Pretty much.
And so it's very surprising to me. I mean, most fitness professionals have literally zero financial training. Literally zero.
Yeah.
Like the questions that we get to our customer service team back this up. The amount of times when we've been emailed or messaged, hey, I'm considering enrolling in the Online Trainer Academy. Is it possible to use this as a tax write-off? Yes.
Yes.
I don't even need to know where you live. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Education for your profession is a professional expense. Like, there's no question. The fact that anybody needs to ask that question is not a knock on them. It's a knock on just how bad of a job providers, training providers, educational bodies do at preparing people to work in a field, in any field. My wife is a naturopathic doctor by training. She's inactive now, but she's in Canada, naturopathic medicine is board certified medicine.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of countries, it's not. And so there's a little bit of, like, the term is different in different places, but in Canada, it's board certified medicine. She has the same training as an MD would have. And they don't teach these doctors who have to run their own entrepreneurial practice how to manage their money. And like, it's insane. So it's not just fitness, and it's not a knock on you. It's a problem with this, like, world we live in. And I mean, they don't teach this stuff in school. They don't teach this stuff in professional training for professions. And part of the reason why it's kind of hard for us to teach, if we've looked into covering this every which way through the Personal Trainer Development Center. And one of the really hard things that happens is it's actually the nuances of what you do is actually different, or what you can do, or what's advantageous to you is different in every region, not just countrywide. Like, every province, every state is different. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to do is talk to you about let's say 4 general topics. That is not necessarily, it's definitely not me giving you advice on what to do, but it is things that you must look into and understand if you want to manage your finances responsibly. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to talk about, like, some of where the differences might lie in different places, but number 1 is probably the most important, is you should have a good accountant.
Yeah.
And this is not H&R Block.
No, my accountant made all the difference in my life.
Yes.
Yeah. A godsend. Yep.
The first year that I hired an accountant, I saved $70,000 in taxes.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was also the year that I incorporated basically the way that Ontario works, where I live in. We have Canada, particularly Ontario, but Canada has exceptionally high personal tax, and corporate tax is reasonably low. And so as long as you keep your money in a corporation, you can grow it much faster than if you take it out personally. And so basically the first year that I started to make real money, I incorporated my company before that year started at the advice of my accountant. And then we made all the money in the corporation. And so I was taxed at like 24% instead of 55%. Yeah. At like the top end rate, like it's not like, anyway. So you should have a good accountant will save you money.
Absolutely.
It seems a lot of the time like you're spending money because of, and this is a lot of the kind of tricks. You can, again, going into conspiracy theories, but it kind of seems like a lot of the ways that governments have organized tax structures has been to kind of put blinders on its citizens. The Canadian government, for sure. And, one of the, like most people should not need accountants. The only reason why we do is because the tax systems are so cumbersome and confusing. Absolutely. And they probably shouldn't be. But there's the train, mute yourself, right? And so you should have a good accountant. And an accountant will pay for itself many times over.
Oh, gosh.
Because an accountant will help you structure yourself properly, help you structure your family properly, help you identify where you are in life and whether there are specific tax credits, whether there are specific benefits.
Yeah.
Where are there even potential grants that you might be able to get? What you can write off, what you can't write off, whether it makes sense to form a corporation or LLC wherever you are and operate not as an individual, but as a corporation and pay yourself as an individual a salary. And the decisions of whether to do that or not are different in every place. But the few $1,000s that you pay every year to your accountant, you will make back and more. I promise you.
Just the hours that you get back from having someone handle this consistently throughout the year, especially if you're dealing with quarterly filing in the United States. Now I don't want to get too deep into that, but oh my gosh, you just sleep so much better. It's just a better quality life.
Well, and a lot of the letters and stuff like that, again, this is going from Canada. I think the States is somewhat similar, but a lot of the letters you get in Canada are like purposefully very scary letters that actually are not scary. And so to be able to go to an expert and be like, I got this letter that says all of these really scary things and threatens collections and threatens repossession and stuff like that. And your accountant will be like, yeah, ignore that. Because basically what these governments not necessarily, but what these governments often do is they will knee jerk, like the letters are sent in an automated fashion before they actually process paperwork. And so the accountant will be like, yeah, we processed that. They just haven't like gotten to it yet, basically.
Right. So just in case they're just threatening you, just in case you actually need the threatening.
But it's legitimately scary. Right. To get that paperwork. And so that's number one. Number two is like yes, you should always have a good accountant. And the accountant actually won't cost you very much because an accountant you probably shouldn't have to speak to your accountant. Like I'm talking a tax accountant, you probably won't have to speak to your accountant except around tax season, as long as you collect your paperwork appropriately throughout the year. Literally all of your receipts, just put them. I mean, back before I did this, I use an app now that like pulls on my receipts and I take pictures, but I have a full-time bookkeeper, so that's different. But when I didn't, I had a filing cabinet and I just had different folders, right? One was expenses, one was income, right? And then one was just like official paperwork. And I didn't even look at this stuff because I couldn't, like my brain explodes when like financial stuff happens. I didn't even look at this stuff. All that I did is I just tossed it in that folder, right? Whenever it came in. And then at the end of the year, you can at least hand your accountant the right folders with all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Even things like in a lot of places, even things like medical expenses, like I go to a chiropractor, I go get a massage or something like that. Medical expenses can be written off against your personal income.
Yeah.
In a lot of places. Like, did you know that? And so understanding different incentives, in Canada, we've got things like childcare incentives. We've got things like education incentives, different types of savings accounts. What's in the US, what is it, 401k? In Canada, we have RESPs, RRSPs, TFSAs, like when you use those, when you don't. In Canada, for example, an RESP or an RESP is an education fund. Well, as long as you put in at least $2,500 in your kid's education fund every year, the government puts in an additional $500, which means you get $500 free as long as you put in $2,500. So like you want to max that out.
Yeah.
Right. An RRSP, basically you have cap room every year based off of your salary that you can put into your RRSP, but you actually shouldn't use that unless you're in a high tax bracket. And so like there's all of these, and I'm just using these as examples, but like there's all of these different examples of how you use these accounts, and these types of accounts generally exist in most places. And this is why you need a good accountant who will be like, for your situation, here's what you do. Right? Build up cap room in your RSP. Okay, cool. Your salary's gone up high. Okay, now you're going to put a whole bunch of money in that room so that later on in life, when you're at a lower salary, i.e. when you retire, you can pull it out tax free.
Jonathan, you know what's so amazing about what you just said? That you can literally say RESP without saying the ECT. Like I can't do it. Like it's so foreign to me. Like every time you said RESP, in my head, I'm just going ECT. I wouldn't mean to be like, I can't do it. That's amazing. That's an amazing skill. Can all Canadians do that?
You mean to me?
Yeah, I can't hear you say that without hearing the ECT.
Can't hear me say what?
3 times. RESP. ECT.
ECT.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was important that I got that point out to the listening audience. You may continue, sir.
So from what I'm gathering, step one, we all agree, is get an accountant. Even if you think it's going to cost you money, it's actually an investment that's going to give you so much money back. Like totally worth it.
Step one is get an accountant. And step two is like read a few books. It will, you don't need to have an advanced knowledge of the stuff, but you need to understand it. This is probably the single most important thing for you to understand if you want to have a really good life where you're free to move, you're free to support your family, you're free to put money away and have vacations. Like you have to build a basic skill set in financial awareness, in managing money. And you can't delegate that 100%. You need to be able to speak the language. You need to be able to ask the right questions to a financial professional. So read a few books, basic books. Understand what a tax write-off is. Understand what the benefits are. Understand what the main accounts are. Unfortunately, if you just go to your bank, they're probably going to rip you off.
Yeah, that's true.
Banks, mutual fund, like quote unquote investment advisors who work for banks that sell you the bank's mutual funds are actually pretty shit deals in almost every case. Banks will, I wouldn't say steal money from you.
But I mean, technically, I don't know.
If you're not careful and if you trust them without really monitoring it, they might steal money from you. And not steal money because like they're technically allowed to, but like the stuff that banks are allowed to do with their fine print is like pretty scary. So just build that. That's, I don't know. I say this because I fought being a responsible adult for so long.
Yep, can relate. Yeah, same. If I can add a third step to what you're saying, Jonathan, I think part of the process also involves us like getting really honest about our spending. Like, do you go and see your bank statement online like often, like every few days? Because number one, sometimes there are phantom charges. There are things that happen. Yep. The money gets deducted from your account, and if you're not,
I'm going to tell you a crazy story about that afterwards.
Yeah, like my he's actually an accountant here locally. He just posted today, I just $1,800 withdrew from his account for no reason, and he's an accountant and he caught it like that, and he's getting it reversed and fixed. But if you're not on top of it, even if it's $5, but $5 every couple of weeks, like that's going to cost you dearly. So you need to be on top of that. And also because there's a psychology behind seeing where your money is going. If you have goals and if you have things that you want to achieve, you need to get really freaking honest if the things that you're spending on are bringing you closer to your goals or not.
That doesn't sound like fitness at all.
But it kind of is. I mean, it is. Here's a segue for you, Ren. One of the things that a lot of fitness professionals spend money on that actually isn't bringing them closer to their goals. I mean, there's a lot of things that they kind of trick themselves, that we trick ourselves, is like, oh, if you're a gym owner, oh, I'm going to buy like this new equipment thinking that it's going to make that big of a difference. It's like the reason why you don't have enough people coming into your gym is not because of your lack of really nice equipment.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. So spending your money on that may seem like it's a step in the right direction. When it comes to online fitness business, the reason why your online fitness business isn't growing the way that you could, or maybe you're struggling, is not because you don't know quite, like taking another certification in some obscure part about fitness or nutrition. Right. While important to get better at those things, is not going to move the needle. Right. Enrolling in the Online Trainer Academy, or understanding business and being able to do that better, like that's probably what you need, you know? So it is.
You can hold off on that fitness for hair growth certification trainers. Like you don't need that one as your 25th cert this year.
Yeah, right.
I'm a fitness for
That
hair growth.
doesn't exist. That
expert.
needs to be a thing. That needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
I just graduated
I mean,
fitness
look,
for hair
there are a
growth.
lot of like I'm talking about like corrective exercise,
Right.
visualizations, and that kind of thing. It's like that stuff is good. Don't get me wrong. Like you should know that stuff eventually, but it's not going to get you more clients. It's not going to help you make a bigger impact on a wider scale.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you got to kind of do some stuff before some other stuff.
Right.
And it seems like in our field, people just kind of leave the business and the marketing till like far at the end because they feel like, oh, maybe my problem is I need to get a little bit better at corrective exercise. It's like, sorry, no client has ever come in and said, hey, do you have a corrective exercise specialization?
Never.
And probably if you've never done anything with marketing and business development, no client has ever come in, period. So like maybe that's your problem, like maybe that's a little bit of like a hard truth. But I have a good story of like monitoring your accounts because this happened to us like 3 weeks ago. So Allison logged into her online banking and was just like, why do I have all of these like $150 charges from the bank on this credit card that I don't use anymore? So basically we have, when we have a joint credit card and we have a couple accounts because we've got an investment property and stuff like that. So we've got a reasonably complicated banking system and a trust and a few corporations and stuff like that now. But there was a credit card that she basically called the bank and had them put like an auto payment. So just like auto pay off 100% of this credit card every month, pull from this account, whatever. Whoever was at the bank didn't do it. Like they checked the box wrong or something, right? And like Allison never checked because she's just like, we never use that card.
Right.
And there was like $800 on it that was just supposed to be paid off, and then she never used it since then. So she just never checked. 5 months later, she goes in there, and this card had been dinged $150 every month for interest payments because they never checked it. And the best part was that because her bank accounts and credit cards are from the same bank, there's actually small print in the bank that basically says, even though these two accounts are not connected because they're owned by the same person, if you're in arrears, like if you're in, we will automatically debit from one of your other accounts, your interest payments. So she never gave permission. She never connected the accounts. These accounts were never paying. They just like basically just decided to just start taking money from one of her other accounts into her credit card.
Nice.
And it took her like 3 hours on the phone to get to the right department, the collections company. And they finally said, okay, well, the people working at the bank said, okay, well, before we, so that we don't have to send this to collections, I've spoken to my manager, and I'm really, really happy to say that the manager is able to get 50% of the charges taken back. And Allison goes, that's great. Thank you very much. Who do I speak to get the other 50%?
Yes, girl, go for it.
And I mean, what
oh my God.
Right? Like, this is not an insignificant amount of money that they were literally just because of a bank error that they were able to see documented on their end, like because they record the phone calls, like they knew that this phone call happened. Because there was a bank error on their end, they literally were stealing money from Allison's account.
Yeah.
That's that. The one other thing I want to talk about, because we don't have a ton of time left, is the final piece of the puzzle, which I believe very, very, very strongly on, which is at any point in your life, you need to live well below your means.
Yeah, been there, done that.
And that line will move, of course, as you make more money, because living under your means could still mean that you live very well. But most people won't. We live in a very consumer-rich society where you kind of feels like, and I feel this pressure too, you got to buy stuff. That's one of the reasons why I love my Casio watch so much, is because I look down at it and it reminds me that simple is often best. It reminds me you don't need to spend a lot of money to get great things. Like, I mean, it's kind of a joke, but but it does remind me, in lieu of tattoos on my body, which I don't have any, that acts as a pretty powerful symbol. Like a lot of my story of why I'm able to be here today and employing the people I do and building the company that I do is because very early on in my training career, I lived well below my means, well below my means. Now, at the same time, I truly appreciate that I come from a really advantageous position, and I would never downplay that. I come from a good family. I was able to get a good education. I worked through university, but I was still able to graduate university debt-free. That's an advantage that a lot of people don't have. And so I would never downplay that in any way. But a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my friends started to make money in their careers after university and went out to eat 4 or 5 times a week.
Right.
They went out for drinks, they bought nice clothes, they bought a nice car, whatever. And as a result, they got kind of stuck into the situation that they were in. And they couldn't get out of it. Was I always lived below my means. I still bike to work. I like it. I've got a nice car. I don't want to drive it. I'd rather bike. And so it's still, clothing wise, obviously it's a joke that I own the same t-shirt all the time, but all throughout my career, I always made my food and brought it in. I maybe buy my lunch once a month. I bring my leftovers. Allison and I hardly ever eat out. We called in during all of the COVID quarantine, we called in takeout once. And think about when you actually do the math of how much money that is compounded over the years.
Right.
It is an extraordinary amount of money.
Yeah, the coffee set up and everything. And it's a system of values too. Like if eating out is something that you genuinely value and that it fills your soul with joy, then okay, make space for it because for you it's worth it. But if you're just doing it mindlessly because you can't be bothered, then you got a problem.
Well, and so what are you spending your money on? So what did I spend my money on early on, right? I spent my money on education. I spent my money on travel to meet people, to network. I'm not talking like exotic travel. I'm talking like when I started the PTDC, I went to every single event, every single conference, and I just shook hands. That's what I spent my money on. I think I went to New York City 10 times in one summer just to meet people and shake my hands. I was eating I wasn't quite eating tuna fish out of a can, but close. So what do you, right? We've all done it. I in university, my lunch often was celery sticks. I'd actually legit walk to school with, I'd buy a loaf of bread and peanut butter and jelly, and I'd make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with all of the bread, and I'd just put it back in the same bag.
Yeah, that was even your container. You couldn't even bother getting a container. Yeah.
And then I get those little snack size tuna fish cans. And I'd bring those, and I'd get celery sticks, and my lunch would be 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, a tuna fish can, and celery sticks.
Wow.
That was it's just kind of a funny, that was university though, that's different. But this idea of living below your means, because most won't truly, and at any point in time, I always look for advantages, points of leverage. If you can invest where other people don't because you're willing to do things that other people won't, then you're going to be able to get ahead. And a lot of that starts with your finances and carefully analyzing when you don't have a lot of money, can you live below your means so that you can invest into places that are going to work for you in the years to come? Yeah. That's when you wake up 5 years in the future and you look back and you're like, yo, I did it. Yeah. But it's hard to see that forward.
In the moment,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's tough.
Absolutely. So get an accountant, grab a professional. We're wrapping this thing up. You're welcome, Amber. Get an accountant, get a little knowledge. You can't outsource all of it. You need to have some understanding. So read something.
You can never outsource anything. I believe so strongly in the power of understanding the role of a general contractor, in construction. Like
Mhm.
you need to understand every job as you build your business.
Right.
You need to understand the basis of every job so that you can A, communicate on each level,
Mhm.
and B, make sure you're not taken advantage of, and C, recognize really great work and jump on it.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
have to understand the littlest about each task. Like I taught myself a bit about programming. I taught myself a bit about HTML. I taught myself a bit of design and Photoshop. And like, I don't do any of those things. You know what I'm saying? But I taught myself enough of them so that I understand them and I can recognize talent and communicate with talent.
And watch, be mindful of your means. Make sure there's some distance, there's a gap between your earning and your living, so that you're well below those means, and that line will increase over time. You know, the goalposts will change over time. If you don't, I can tell you which direction that goal line goes. You know, you quickly cross it and it's behind you, several $1,000s behind you.
Let's end this episode with this. When the repo man showed up at your door, Ren, what did he say?
He's like, "Yo, fam, we out, B. Hope you got some good shoes, player. We'll be walking tomorrow." That's basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing. It may have been more or less eloquent than that, but it was something like, "Hey, we out, B." And then I saw, you never really
Did he toss you a can of sunscreen?
No, nothing. You never really get to see your own taillights on your car, which is really odd. I got to saw mine and they were amazing. Amazing taillights on my car. But you live and you learn, man. Live and you learn.
And here you are.
And here I am. Number one in Romania.
As a 1/4. Yeah.
Yes.
Here you are as 1/4 of the Online Trainer Show. So I don't know whether that's forward or backwards. I'll leave that up to them.
Actually, Jonathan, I like to say 3/4. If we're being honest, I like to say 3/4 of the Online Trainer podcast. But we can talk about that some other time. That's not what the show's about today. Amber, you got anything to add? You good? We haven't heard your voice in a while.
If you want to read show notes.
That's it. That's all we get. Well, thanks for that, Amber. You've tuned into the Online Trainer Show. You can catch the show notes at onlinetrainer.com/podcast. Is that right? I think that was right. Memory. And Amber throws some awesome things. What was supposed to be in the show notes today? Was it it wasn't the Jamie Foxx thing. Was there something else that was supposed to be in the show notes today? I can't remember. Jonathan will tell Amber later when we're off there and we have the best conversations. We only talk about the stuff we don't like on there. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time when we have another scintillating topic, full of amazing banter and just more information than your head can contain.
You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll cry. Yeah. It'll be a journey.
God.
And one thing's for certain.
Out of here.
One thing's for certain, Romania. At the end, you won't be the same as when you started. See you next time.
Oh my God. Jingle, please.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.